So what, like,
you just need to ask, you just need to be interested with her, yeah? You don't have to for that kind of advice.
Yeah, I was that. Hang on, yeah. What kind of involvement do you have? Sorry, you said it with boss, yeah. So.
SBTV. Oh boy, I'm not your substitute number. Oh no.
We're here to talk about Virgin Unite. Tell me a bit about your involvement with the project.
Well, I started working with them in 2004, 2005. I went to South Africa with Richard for the first time in Kelly Holmes. I'm a person that does charity, but I'm not very like super vocal and like I do this. I'm not one of those people.
Yeah, shouting from the rooftop.
Yeah, because I do it because I actually feel a certain way about it. And so I went to South Africa with Kelly Holmes and Richard Branson. We visited their school of entrepreneurship. At the time, it was coming off of the first record I put out in '98, so people had a clue and they knew. Felt special. And then I went there and I visited some of the projects, and it was it hit me a moment of like, okay, what am I doing? Like I'm really nothing in comparison to what these kids are achieving out here. Because you saw kids that had backgrounds where their parents had both died from AIDS. They were like 13, taking care of like 6 or 7 brothers and sisters. Yeah. And that freaked me out. I'm the oldest of 9 kids, and it was like, what? And I had help. Like I said, I had help. I had a mum and dad. Yeah. So it was always like, it was weird. Oh my god.
Yeah. And do you think it's important to be involved in those kind of projects because of all the stuff that you saw when you were out there?
Absolutely. I think just as a human being, it's important to be involved. I mean, you can get so caught up in what you're doing in your life. Just a small act of giving a little bit is being aware that there's more than just you out here. Yeah. I think that's important. We don't live on our own. Yeah. It takes a village. And it takes the whole world to help everybody else. There's evidence in the past. With the Egypt uprisings and things like that. So to me, it was kind of like, I feel like I have to help. I can't go and see this and not bring attention to it, not raise money, not help.
Yeah. So what kind of involvement do you have?
Well, I bring attention to it, I raise awareness, and I help. I go and visit. I've been to visit a few times. We've been out there and done some work with the kids, and I participate in whatever way I can. I've done a few Q&As. Oh yeah. I do a good few Q&As. They ask me like, because they're always like, okay, you're this girl from London, and you look like me, and how do you do it? Yeah. And I give them the more detailed background on a personal level of how I did it. Not, oh, I got signed yesterday and this happened today. It's more the struggle, more the real life work that goes into just existing. Yeah. And they're always encouraged by it, but I'm encouraged by them. It's kind of like, okay, how do you raise 7 or 8 kids at the age of 13? Yeah. With your ailing grandparents. And, it freaked me out. As soon as I came back, I would always tell my friends, they were like, all these kids, I said, I want to take kids from here and go there. Yeah. They're like, oh, they'll feel like they're bad men, they'll feel like they got it. Yeah. Because, it's nothing. If I can go and survive that. I said, no, I don't believe that. It will change their experience, it will change their point of view, I'm telling you. Yeah. Because you can't go and see a 13-year-old raising a 10-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 6-month-old, raising, forsaking their own education and raising these kids. That's a different level of strength. It's something you've never experienced or seen before. So for me, it was like, okay, I want them to see this. So I would come back and I talk to kids here. We visit a kids company out here as well, which is another Virgin Unite Associate Foundation. And the kids are brilliant. It always strikes me how bright and how clever and how amazing these kids are. We underestimate them. That's why I feel like take them there, let them see it. Yeah. Their point of view will change. The way they behave as adults after that point will be changed.
Because it's International Women's Day next week, and you talk about you felt like you didn't look like the typical girl. So how important is that to you?
As I get older, it's more of a thing of, as you get older, you earn more money, you do more things, or you just become more confident. You realise it's more about just being who you are at that present moment and just living every single day. Yeah. So I realised I had tits and legs and I wanted to show them.
Yeah, hey, get them out, sister.
So no, but it just became a thing of being comfortable with myself. And I really got comfortable with the fact that I was skinny as hell, had big tits and nice looking ass, and show it.
Some ladies would kill for that, love.
I know. But
you're alright.
As you're growing up, I was so skinny. I never thought like that would be sexy. Yeah. So I never felt sexy or like comfortable to be like, okay, wear a little bustier top.
All right,
you know,
that's a bit tighter today.
I didn't look at myself like that. So, you know, as you grow, as you learn, as you get more comfortable, as you see things way worse off than what you think it is, you know, you start realising, maybe I'm not so bad.
Yeah.
I'm all right.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so who's inspired you then?
Yeah, let me think. On a musical level, I have my idols. On a personal level, and this is in the past year, there have been people that I went to several different awards, and there are women that are just not, they're not name brand, they're not out there. There's a lady in Africa who is, her and her daughters have decided to, like, they've made a big camp, and she's from, I have to think of this correctly, she's from Sudan. She made a big camp, and basically the camp houses all these women and all these ladies, that women and men that have been pushed out from where they were, you know, where they were staying because of the war. And she, you know, they've tortured her, they beat her, they've done all these things, and she still has this camp, and this is her land, and she owns it, and she takes these people in. That kind of thing to me is inspiring. There's something like, we have kids out on the streets now, and we can't be bothered to figure out, you know, how to help them. There's a lady in Africa with 90% less than we have, making it happen on her own with her kids. That kind of stuff is, it scares me, you know. So that's my inspiration. Those kind of people are my inspiration.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your wisdom with me. I feel very inspired now. So thank you for joining me. You've worked your magic on this sofa, so all is well. Thank you very much for joining us, Estelle. I've been Georgia LA, right here on SBTV. I'll see you next time.